What is up, everybody? Jacob here. Today I'm going to help you crush your OSCP exam by becoming a better enumerator. Now, enumeration is a very critical process as part of pen testing. You cannot become a good pen tester without becoming a good enumerator. And today's video is not going to function as a broad spectrum enumeration guide. Rather, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to go over a enumeration tactic and note-taking tactic rather that I have come to appreciate myself from my time as a professional pen tester, and I'm actually going to walk you through a little tool that I built that you can use to transform your Nmap results immediately into actionable notes that you can then use to ace your OSCP exam. So let's get started. So the very first thing that I'm going to do over here is actually just run a basic Nmap command against the scan me node that Nmap provides. Now I could have chosen any CTF box for this, but right now I don't have a VPN spun up, so the scan me node is the easiest. So we're just going to run this command, and this is just going to actually perform an Nmap scan, TCP scan, and UDP scan, and we're going to output the results in XML format. And I'm going to tell you why very shortly, but we're just going to wait for this Nmap scan to finish, and then we'll be right back. Okay, we are back, and you can see our Nmap scan has actually completed over here. Now, one of the things that I think people struggle with the most when it comes to enumeration is not actually running different tools. A lot of people know all of the different enumeration techniques and tools, and they've mastered the technical aspects of it, but then they struggle when it comes to actually transforming that technical information into actionable notes. Now, note-taking is how you become an excellent pen tester. Being able to take great notes is how you're not only going to ace your OSCP exam, but in general just improve your pen testing abilities tenfold. So in terms of note taking, there's many different ways to note take, and I'm not going to say that one way is better than another, but I am going to say that I do use Obsidian, which is a markdown note taking application. I think that it's an excellent way to take notes. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to show you how you can take your initial Nmap scans and results on a pen test or the OSCP exam, for example, and you can actually transform those into a graph via the Obsidian canvas functionality. And that's really going to help you map out the attack paths and make sure that in your head you have everything there. And this is actually going to give you a really good actionable framework to work on for both the exam and real pen tests. It's just going to enhance your note-taking capabilities a lot. So let's get started on that. So I've gone ahead and opened Obsidian over here, and what we're going to do now essentially is I'm just going to walk you briefly through the canvas functionality. It's going to take about 30 seconds to go over this. So canvas is a really useful function in Obsidian where you can essentially draw out these interconnected nodes and canvases. And why I find that to be particularly helpful in a pen testing context is I think it lets you build a very effective and efficient mind map of what's going on in the environment. So for example, I could have like a host here, and then I could just draw another card to a port 22, for example, connected to that host. So that's just one way that you can go ahead and map out an entire environment. And I'm going to show you now how you can automate this process and make it super effective just by using an Nmap scan and a little script that I have built. The last thing that we did was an Nmap scan, and we actually output it to XML. Now, the astute of you might have noticed that and been like, but why are we outputting to XML? And there's actually a very distinct reason for that. The reason why we're outputting to XML is because the tool that I built actually processes Nmap XML data. So we're just going to cat that quickly, and you can see that this is a bunch of very difficult to read and parse for humans at least, data, which is just XML. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually run this through my little tool over here called Nmap to canvas, and we are going to input output.xml as the input file. And we're going to go ahead and run that, and you can see that we have the result route 1 hosts to home Kali enum tool. And now I'm actually just going to open Obsidian, and we're going to have a look at what that looks like. So now that we have actually gone ahead and run the tool that I built, you will see now in Obsidian we actually have a fully mapped out version of this host in the canvas where we essentially can browse around. It shows the TCP ports and the UDP ports on this host all mapped out in a nice mind map. And I think that's really going to help you contextualize things for your enumeration process. This also then goes ahead and it creates a document over here with the canvas linked inside it. It creates a table of the ports and even has some enumeration advice here per port over here. So I think just a really good starting point for your enumeration process. So if this was for the OSCP, for example, you could go ahead and run your scans and everything, run the tool, import all the data into the tool, and then that would just create an Obsidian canvas for you that you can use to keep track of everything that you do during the OSCP exam. Now, this is really, in my opinion, highly critical, just to be able to keep track of everything and keep all the context in your head. Obviously, the OSCP is a super time-pressured exam. It's only 24 hours, and there's a lot going through your head and many different enumeration steps that you're taking. So being able to actually track that for me is extremely helpful and super powerful. So if you did find this video helpful, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really helps out the channel. And if you have time, go check me out on LinkedIn. And if you have any other further questions, just message me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to help out anytime. So with that in mind, hope you guys have a great day and I will see you in the next video.